mentioned that you had a clear valley that you wanted to discuss.
Yeah.
And that valley was the immediate aftermath of your breakup.
I think that when I was in the valley was probably when we moved together to San Diego and just being in that one bedroom apartment together. That's kind of where all our problems started stemming from. I was taking so much energy from her, and just like, because I felt, when I did try to communicate those negative emotions, I felt like they weren't reciprocated. They were just like taken in by her and then flipped into, oh, I felt that once. This is my story. Then it's just like, it just got to a point where like, when we fought, it was like we fought and like, I didn't like her actions that she was doing and some of the things that she was doing during those fights and during those low moments, to the point where I just started resenting her, and then she started resenting me, and we couldn't even like hug on some days, and we couldn't kiss each other on some days. It's just because she was like, yo, I just like mentally, I can't do that. I can't have any physicality with you right now. Doing that for so long, man, it's just like, if we're not trying to work with each other and like trying to like build each other up, then it's just like, I think we both just got to a place where it's just not getting better, and then the relationship's over and she's throwing the ring at me and I have that, and it's just like, yo, like that shit's tough, dude.
Welcome everyone to the Beyond the Cover podcast. My intent with creating this podcast was to provide a platform where men can speak openly about their journeys with mental health without fear of judgment while doing so. While I, the host, or you, the listener, may not agree with everything or anything that a certain guest says for that matter, my focus is not to decipher what is right or wrong. Rather, it's to gain a better understanding of why somebody thinks and acts the way that they do. And with this understanding, we will begin to make better sense of our own lives and the world around us. So join me as we open the books into these men's journeys and dissect the pages within. Today's guest is Brandon Jones. Brandon is a really good friend of mine, and today Brandon wanted to dive deep into a previous relationship and talk about things he hasn't discussed before. It's very vulnerable. It was very challenging for him to share the story, but he felt that today was the right time to do it. So without further ado, let's jump right in. Brandon Jones, welcome to Beyond the Cover.
How's it going?
It's going great. This coming together as quickly as it did. This is going to be a very passionate episode. I know that you have a lot on your mind. You and I have talked in depth about just life, man. And
I feel like this is just like a live pillow talk. You know what I mean? Like on the show.
So I was wondering if you're going to bring that up. I think it's fun to give a little backstory. You and I were roommates on The Bachelorette.
Yes, sir.
I won't say begrudgingly. I just don't think we really connected prior to that point. They put us in
You were in drama, dog.
I was?
Yeah.
Oh, I was. That's
Yeah.
right. With Joe.
Yeah, with Joe. Yeah.
I said that.
Stayed clear from
I
you.
sniffed it out. I said that Joe and Michelle knew each other beforehand, and I was right. I said I got the vibe that like those two knew each other. And then I got in the hot seat because I was the one speaking up, and I was like, that's it. I'm not speaking up anymore.
Yeah, nah.
But
to 30 guys who are like emotionally, like their emotions are through the roof.
Exactly. And I was in a foreign
mean?
environment, and I was scared. All of a sudden, I'm like, oh my gosh, I just drew all this fire on me. And Michelle pulls me aside. So I heard you've been talking. I'm like, oh, here we go. I'm going home.
Yo, yeah. And then I was like, bro, I'm not gonna be associated with this kid right now. Like, yeah.
So we didn't really converse.
Fucking people from Missouri are crazy.
and those you damn West Coasters too, man.
Yeah, chill.
West Coasters are weirdos. Yeah. That's what I used to think. I was like, man, people are woo woo on the West Coast. They're all
woo is
hippie.
crazy.
They're hippie and all that.
That's true. Bro.
But no, we became. They put us in as roommates when we went to Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
And you bring up the pillow talks. So we would have these late night conversations because you wouldn't let me sleep.
No,
because you always wanted to talk.
I was stoked. Yeah, I'm coming back from a hot date, bro. I gotta.
You were one of the front runners. I mean, you were. Meanwhile, I'm here like just fighting to stay around. But you, once the episodes or the day ended, wrapped, and we went off camera. We went to our respective hotel rooms, and you and I were roommates, and we would just sit and talk about life.
Yeah,
that's where the Pillow Talks began.
That's how it all started. Yeah.
I want to thank you for being one of the pillars in my life of starting to put me down the path of awareness and mindfulness, because you taught me the power of journaling.
Yeah.
And I have a journal right here.
Hey, it's huge.
But I remember saying to you, what is that? And you're like, it's a journal. Is it a diary? You're like, yeah, whatever you want to call it. And I was like, why are you writing that? And we talked about so much stuff, but I ended up having a journal on The Bachelor, and it was because of you.
Yeah.
I asked for one.
I read it in your book.
And I wrote all about it. And now I picked it up 4 months ago, and I've been writing it every day. And it's one of the single greatest gifts for mindfulness, just putting thoughts onto paper.
Just getting it out. Just
getting it out there.
Yeah, frustrations, everything.
You got to get it out, man.
That makes me happy
So I want to thank you for that. And you truly are one of my greatest blessings as far as people that I've met in the last 2 years. I mean, you were the catalyst. So thank you.
Damn. All right, we can cut the podcast here. That's all I needed to hear.
But you see, so with that, you've done so much for me, but also, again, I want to go, on the cover, Brandon Jones, on the cover. We're going to dive into the pages, but on the front cover, you were the season 18 of The Bachelorette runner-up. You were America's sweetheart. You came out.
That's what everyone says, but it didn't feel like that. You know what I mean?
And
everyone always says you're America's sweetheart. You're America's sweetheart.
And I want to dive into that because I feel that energy. I know that that's not the way you felt, but you had you were rolled out on a bed. That was like your first appearance.
No, that was.
And you said, I don't know, what'd you say?
I was
to hop in, or what?
Yeah,
I was like, how'd this guy become the sweetheart, man? This is that's a player
full
tactic.
180.
Yeah, lay on the bed.
So I rolled out on a bed, dude. We came up with it in the hotel room. I was just laying there. I was like, they were like, the producer was like, yo, what if you just rolled out just like that? And I was just laying on the bed there, just thinking. I was like, what? I want to show you what it's like to wake up next to me. And he's like,
that was the line.
Yeah.
I said, is that a sweetheart comment or is that a Playboy comment?
Rolling me. I was so confident up in the car. I was so confident to get my bed ready. I'm laying there. I'm like, yo, this is solid. I roll out. I'm like, I see your face. I was like, yo, this is the worst mistake I think I've ever made.
You said, I'm too late.
Yeah, I was like, it's too late. And then I said it. And then, then she just sat in bed with me. I was like, damn, this is going great. Like, I thought she was going to be like, nah, roll along out here. Like, just keep rolling.
She kept pushing you?
Yeah, just kept pushing you. She got back there and just started pushing.
The plane.
Yeah. And,
but she went with it.
I went with it.
Yeah, you went with it, man.
Out of character, but yeah.
Getting my ass slapped with a ruler was my intro. And that was out of character.
That's nuts.
But that was my exposure to first steps and first moment on TV.
You said, what would you say? I'm a bad boy smack.
No, I did not say that. I did not say that. I said it in case I get out of line. I brought something that I don't even know can put me back in line, or I don't know. It was
okay.
It wasn't the best line, but I also was like, hey, too late. I'm here.
It's too late. Yeah, it's too late.
So we both had very interesting introductions on reality television to millions of people. And you had a really very emotional breakup on the show with Michelle. And I think that really is what was the catalyst for your sweetheart edit. I mean, everybody online, I was reading everything online. Oh my gosh, we want to see Brandon win. And so everyone's we got to see him on Paradise. So everyone was calling for Paradise, and they got what they wanted.
Well, everyone was rooting for me except for my hometown. Did I tell you about that story?
Mm-mm.
There was like a giant viewing before I left to the finale. And I decided it was like COVID. So I put on a mask and a hood and went with all my friends and was like, hey, let's just go like hang out. I'll surprise them at the end. Let's see what's up.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be casual. It ended up being like 100-something plus people.
Yeah.
And, it's all women. They're all drinking and everything like that. There's a couple dudes there. But yeah, bro. That third episode when I pulled Michelle away, I'd never heard so much hate in my life. Like, everyone there was like, fuck this guy, like this 17-year-old. Who the fuck is he? What is he doing? If Michelle picks him, I swear I'm going to pull out my hair. And like, yeah. So it was like, I got love from everywhere else, but back home. And I'm just sitting in the back. I'm sitting in the back, like hat on, everything, listening to everyone. And these girls in front of me were like my biggest haters. I had like probably like a group of girls like on the side.
Yeah.
But like I was like, dude, this is gonna be so much fun. And like just go hang out with the fans and like see what's up and surprise them. To the point where it was like I was sitting there like halfway and I was like, nah, this sucks. Like this is the worst. And I brought my people, so they're hearing it too.
Yeah.
And it's just like, yeah. So at the end, she chose me and like everyone erupted. Like she chose Nate first and then she chose me to move on to the finale. And like everyone erupted. And so I just pulled up a chair and I was like, it was great watching this with y'all, but I'll never do this shit again. And you should just like the change on their face was crazy.
Oh, it's probably as much shock to them, like, oh my gosh, we just trash talked this guy, and now he heard all of
here
it
in the room, yeah. And that's that. Then that's when, yeah, I was like,
what were your feelings? I mean, when you heard these things, did it hurt?
Yeah. Well, I was shocked.
Okay.
I was shocked. I was like, yo, my own hometown. That's crazy. That's crazy. Like I've been here, I was there 26 years.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's crazy. And then I was just like, at the end of it, I was just like, hey, at the end of the day, like, not even your own people might not like you. But like, as long as you love yourself, then like, what else can you do? You know what I mean? Like, that's all you need is just for you to love yourself. You're religious. You need God's love and all that. But like, yeah, it's pretty much.
So that was a moment that strengthened your self-love.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
And also like, I think I was so in my head about like talking to Michelle again for the first time and like seeing everyone's reaction and like seeing like how the fans' reaction was and everything like that, to where like that was like the perfect, I don't know, like blow, like
Mm-hmm.
soft blow, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It was like the perfect thing. It was like, okay, now I know everyone's thoughts. Like this is like probably worst case scenario right here.
Yeah.
I could just go in, be myself, and like now I don't care. Now I'm just gonna ask the questions I need, which I didn't get the clarification, but that's okay. But like,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna ask the questions I need and then just move on from there. It's like, I can't change anything. So
That's awesome. That's powerful that you took what could have been a really very negative moment, and could have led you down a path of maybe what they're saying is true. But instead you said, people are going to say what they're going to say.
yeah,
I know who I am.
it's the you
powerful.
can't control it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like only focus on things you can't control. I can't control that. I can't control how the show is going to play me.
Yeah.
But I can control like my attitude when I see Michelle and I see these people and everything like that. So yeah, that's why I stood up and like joked with them. I was like, I'm never watching this with y'all again. Like I appreciate every single one of you, but like, yeah.
When did
this
you
is the last time.
When did you acquire that self-love where you're like, I know who I am and what people say doesn't matter? Because that's powerful to have that. I mean, I just recently acquired that. Have you always had that?
I think now in this position that I'm in right now, I've definitely like have that acquired and have that locked, and like I have the right the right tools in place.
Okay.
To like understand and like achieve that every time. But back then,
what are those tools?
Tools like journaling, for
Okay.
instance, is like writing down what you can't control, and like understanding that like, you know, we do want you, like, for instance, like this Bachelorette that I'm seeing now, like I see like one of the contestants, his parents are online like trying to defend him and his outlook and everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Stuff like that, like
That's what my family
people
did.
who can't, understanding like people who can't control and feel like they're losing control, those tend to like act out on emotion, and they'll tend to like do things that they don't normally do without like understanding like, yo, like this is just the name of the game. Like there's nothing you can do. There's physically nothing. You go out there and put out a statement, yeah, but what are you gonna, like, is it gonna change everyone's mind? Is everyone gonna love you again? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like going on The Bachelorette, is everyone gonna love me? Like I have no control over that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just just be yourself, journal, and then I think the other tool is just writing down what you can and can't. And you'd be surprised, like when you start crossing out the things you can't control, that list isn't so long.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, I definitely learned it, get my heart broken for sure. It's
Okay.
like, hey, I can't control like her picking me. You know what I mean? Like I did everything. I did everything I could. That's why with you in the room, I was like, bro, we got to do everything that you would do, because you don't want to look back and be like, yo, I wish I did this. I wish I did that.
Mm-hmm.
Just be yourself, do everything that you can do. If she don't choose me, she don't choose me. And so when everyone else was partying, she was celebrating, the staff was partying and everything, I stood back there, journaled, and then just like understood, like I was there by myself in the room. I was crying, everything. My producer was in there too. He was down. I don't know if he was, yeah. And then they all went out to celebrate their party, end of the year party, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I just stayed in the room and just watched the sunset and just journal and just like, yo, I can't control none of this. So it's like, there's no point.
That's super powerful. I didn't know that that's what you did, but in that moment, you were essentially choosing yourself. You're like, what do I need to remind myself of who I am?
Yeah.
So that I can keep that self-love and self-confidence, as opposed to letting this situation and the scenario that played out have me question my value.
Yeah.
You were reinforcing it in that moment.
Yeah, because then you start questioning yourself.
So you were, that's awesome. You were reinforcing your value by going right back to the drawing board, i.e. just putting it on paper. Who am I? Put it on paper, yeah. Remember who you are.
Yeah.
And don't lose sight of that no matter what happens.
But it's easier said than done, because I tend to still lose sight of that, like who I am and like, yeah.
Do you feel that you fully know who you are in this moment?
Nah. I don't think anyone, maybe, actually I can't say that. But me, no. Personally, no.
Or let me ask it this way. Are you in a spot where you would say you're in one of your happiest moments? Are you at a place where you feel like you're at the peak, or are you in the valley?
Right now I'm in the valley.
You're in the valley.
Yeah. But I know, but I've been at the peak, you know what I mean? So
Okay.
it's like,
yeah.
It's kind of just like grinding to get back there. You know what I mean?
So that's okay. So
sports season just started over. Like, yeah, I'm in the valley. And it's like, just because you won last year doesn't mean you're going to win again this year. You still got to put in that same work and everything. And like this year I tore my ACL, you know what I mean? For just like a metaphor. Like I tore my ACL. Now it's like getting back to it. And like, yeah, I'm in the valley, but I've been at the peak and like, I know what it takes to get there. So like that, yeah.
I find it really interesting to get your current perspective of where you see yourself, because I think perspective is everything. It is.
Yeah.
It's perspective is reality. I think there's people that could look at you right now and say, he's at the peak. He went on reality television. He got all this recognition. He's traveling, has the freedom to travel when he wants and do these. I saw a collaboration released recently that you posted on your story. You could make an argument on the outside that you're at the peak or at a peak moment.
I'm blessed. I'm definitely blessed. You know what I mean? Like thankful for like the path that God's giving me, but like I'm not.
But you feel like
anywhere near a peak right now. Yeah.
And I want to.
We still go through the same struggles, bro. We're not superhuman. You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
We're not. And do you ever feel when you're in a room that people don't see you like them or as human? Do you ever get that feeling that they see you as more because you went on television? Just curious if you ever feel that.
I mean, maybe that's a feeling. I think I'm more focused on the I think it's just such a weird feeling to know that they know so much about my life and they come up to me thinking that I know about theirs. And I'm not trying to sound, that's not cocky or anything, but just like, Brandon, oh my gosh, you know, I saw that you just moved to San Diego, you did this. And it's like, wow, I'm so sorry. But like, after having so many of those conversations, you just kind of like go with it, I guess. I don't know. We can strike that. That sounds cocky.
No, not at all. It doesn't. I'm asking more so from my own selfish understanding.
I think they just think we could tolerate the whole world. You know what I mean? Like we could tolerate the hate. We could tolerate kind of like superhuman in a way. You know what I mean? Like just because 30,000 people are bashing on me, you know, and just because I went on television doesn't mean like I could take 30,000 people's hate, you know what I mean? Just opened up the floodgates for people to hate me or like for people to like me or whatever it takes.
Yeah, whatever there's the mindset of they know what they signed up for.
Yeah.
They should be able to deal with this.
Yeah, no, I had no idea what what? Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to know, because that's how I feel at times. People go, well, you signed up for this, so you should be able to handle this. It's like, I'm not superhuman. Yeah. I bleed the same blood you do. I feel a lot of the same pain you feel. And I've had people I read online that said, I can't relate to him. He's a reality TV star. And it felt isolating. I wondered if you ever felt that way, if you went in a room and you thought, no one really can relate to me. But I'm
I
human, but it feels like people are looking at me as if I'm almost a zoo animal.
sometimes. Oh, when I hop out the show, yeah. I think sometimes still to this day, I can kind of feel like that. Like if we're just 4th of July,
Mhm.
a lot of people from out of town came, and
Mhm.
then I just started taking pictures with one person, and it led to another. But I'm not gonna lie though, like that makes me happy. You know what I mean? Like I don't know if saying being a zoo animal makes me happy. You know what I mean?
I
Like
mean it more as just
sometimes I want to
like a
enjoy myself.
spectacle. Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean I don't mean it in a bad way. I mean like you go and you see the lion at the zoo and you're like, I get to go see the lion.
yeah, yeah.
But it's like they see you as something different than what you are. You're
But
like, I'm still Clayton the human.
I love that because they come up to me with happiness. You know what I mean? Like they're so
You
happy
can make
to
their
see
day.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so that's how I view it. It's like I love that everyone comes up, takes my picture, and like wants to chat and like wants to talk to me and like pick my brain, and like I think I just think like that's special. That's something that not everyone has, and like I think that just waking up in the day and having someone like smile and like, oh my gosh, you're Brandon, I loved you, I love watching you, like that just like puts joy in my heart because like I made someone smile today, or someone's smiling at me. It's
Yeah.
like happy to see me. So it's like I'm okay being like that lion.
Yeah.
Yeah, because everyone's coming and it's like, hey, yeah, and it's like, yeah, it's the same, but it's like that's the beauty, and it's like these people love us in a way, and like we love them in a way because of like we got the opportunity because of them. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So
Yeah, I feel that gratitude. Sometimes though I repel it only because my insecurity says I don't want you to see me as anything different. I want you to see me like you.
yeah,
So I feel I'm put up on a pedestal, and I'm like, no, like don't put me, because it feels like I'm being isolated on a pedestal.
yeah,
And that's more so just like how my brain operates. So I was curious how yours does, but yours is more like if like I'm grateful that you can get so much positivity from this interaction.
yeah.
And
It's like I just try to suck the positivity from it, but I understand like when it comes to like our life and like dealing with certain aspects,
Yeah.
you have nobody to go to but the people on the show. I think
Mhm.
that's all kind of like why we stay
Yeah.
in contact with everyone, and like
Mhm.
people might say it's like a little bit of a cult, but at the end of the day, we all went through something together. You know what I mean? And we're the only ones who kind of understand and like can talk about that.
Yeah. You need to have that support in order to find your way out of a valley. You
Yeah,
gotta be
because
able
sometimes I can't go to like my mom or my dad and be like, yeah, I'm feeling this today because this so and so and so and so, when
Mhm.
they've never had someone online, a couple thousand people online just hate them all at once, or like
Mhm.
so it's like, but I could go to you, I go to Will, I go to Daniel or whoever, and just be like, hey, yo, like this happened today, and they're like, yeah, when that happened to me, this is what I did, or like this helped me through this and stuff like that. So
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah,
No, it's powerful, man. It's a brotherhood we have that is special because of how unique of an experience that we went through.
yeah,
Only we understand it.
yeah,
In preparation for coming on the podcast, I told you that I wanted to discuss a rock bottom moment, a valley,
yeah,
a dark place that you had been. And the reason why I want to go there is because I believe it's very relatable, rock bottom moments where there's a lot of people right now in life that will listen to this and they'll be facing something similar to what you're going to share. And so they'll feel less alone through hearing your story. We'll talk about how you felt during that moment, which will allow them to be able to relate and feel, again, less alone. And then talk about how you've been able to fight your way back out of that valley and climb back up the peak. And that essentially just gives people hope.
yeah.
And if he went through it,
You can too.
I can too.
Yeah,
And so when I brought that to you, you had mentioned that you had a clear valley that you wanted to discuss.
yeah,
And that valley was the immediate aftermath of your breakup with Serene.
yeah,
We're going to dive into that, wherever it is you want to take it. Before we do, can I share with you the 5 stages of grief? It's it was coined by Elizabeth Kubler-Ross. It's whenever someone goes through a challenging time, there's these 5 stages that they will navigate through. Can I share with you those 5 stages? So the first stage of grief is denial. This is this can't be happening mindset. Then stage 2 is anger, whether this is at yourself or others. Stage 3 is bargaining. This is where someone will try to regain control through making deals or promises with a higher power. Could be, hey, God, if you change this, then I promise to never do this again. Stage 4 is then depression. This is where someone will feel a deep sadness and realization of loss. They may have feelings of hopelessness or just disconnection. And then the last stage is acceptance. This is where somebody will come to terms with the reality of the situation. They'll find a way to live with it and move forward. So the 5 stages again are denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. It doesn't have to be linear, but most people experience it in that order, maybe with 1 or 2 out of place. But Brent, I want to ask you today, when you think about the breakup with Serene, what stage do you think that you're currently in?
Well, finally got to acceptance.
You're at acceptance?
Yeah. Before that, I think I stayed in anger for a long time. Anger and depression kind of like mixed between both of those, but yeah.
Let's talk about what got you to that place of depression.
Yeah, I mean, we could start by just like the relationship in general. How do you want me to start? You want me to start at the beginning, kind of like lead up to it, or
wherever you feel inclined to start? When you were in that valley moment, where was that?
When we talk about the breakup, or like just kind of like leading up to it, or how it started off, and like the, I don't know, obstacles that we faced together, and like
whatever you're feeling. I just want you to talk about when you think about when I was in the valley, where was that starting point? And we can discuss, how you got there as well, but just wherever you feel comfortable starting.
Yeah, I think that when I was in the valley was, man, I was gonna say probably when we moved together to San Diego, and just being in that 1-bedroom apartment together. I think that's kind of where all our problems started stemming from. I haven't talked about this, and I kind of just swept it under the, I don't know, dude. Actually, you know what? We're going to scratch that. I think that, just in the valley, I think for me, when it started, like the anger, the depression, all that was when the engagement ended.
Okay.
And I think that just like that whole week before I went to Austin, when she gave me the ring and everything, and then I think I was just in denial for a good amount, like kind of just push it away, like, okay, my engagement, yeah. But at the same time, I was just like, you know what, maybe I'll be better. Like, maybe I'll be good. Maybe, this hasn't been working for us for a while. Like, I'm going to be okay. Like, this is fine. This isn't really happening right now. Like, I'm just going to be okay. And like, I can get through it. It'll be fine. And then, yeah. And then, a week before that, she was telling me that she was going back to Oklahoma too. And she's like, I can't be here. I don't think that being here is going to be good for us. And I think that, to me personally, she felt that she just needed to go back to Oklahoma, or that kind of was like her thing. Like, she just wanted to be back with her family in Oklahoma. And she felt that, being separated would have been better to work on the relationship, because obviously being trapped in a 1-bedroom apartment just wasn't doing it. And so I think then it was just like I kind of just started losing hope, and like, you know, the engagement ended and I called you that day that it ended. I don't know if you remember, but I was just in the parking garage crying, and I was like, she ended it. She's moving back to Oklahoma, and she's moving her stuff out in like a week or so. And it's just like, I was in denial, but then everything kind of like started crashing in all at once. And like, I couldn't be in the house talking about it, because if I was in the house talking about it, she'd probably come out and like it'd start a whole nother argument or feud. So I just had to like walk away and go away. And there's so much I'm leaving out, but I think at that point, that's like when she told me, she was like, hey, I'm going back to Oklahoma, and like, I think this is going to be better for us. To a week later, engagement ending, to like a week later, me going to Austin, just like it didn't stop. Like, I never got out of the valley. It's just like I felt like the hole was just getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
So you all ended the engagement a week before you went to Austin.
A week before I went to Austin, yeah.
And then when you went to Austin, there was a photo that came out.
It was a video.
A video.
Yeah.
And what did that video show?
It showed me dancing with another girl.
You danced with another girl as a single man.
As a single man. But this is the problem, though. This is it. Before I left to Austin, I gave her hope about us possibly making it work. I gave her hope about, you know, how would that look like? You know, you in Oklahoma, me here, like, what would that look like? Like, how would we paint that picture together? Because if we're not able to work out our problems here, how are we going to work it out halfway across the United States? You know what I mean? And then I was just like, you know what? I don't know what we're doing right now, but I'm going to Austin. And, you know, right now we're fine, but just like, I don't know how, you know what I mean? Like, talking to you, the writing was on the wall. And it was just like, I don't know how, if we can't make it work together here, how are we going to make it work there? And that was such an issue for me that I held on to. And she knew that there was something wrong. And she texted me, and I didn't want to start a fight on the plane. So I was like, yeah, no, nothing's wrong. You know, have you ever done that where you're just like, everything's good? You know,
sometimes
but it's visible. It's visible. It's like, yo, something is wrong. It's like, yo, like, I just don't want to fight. Like, I can't. You were threw the ring at me. Like, I can't fight anymore. You know what I mean? Like, I'm done. I'm done. And secondly, like, a week after the engagement ending, I went and danced with a girl. You know what I mean? Like, could you imagine like the hurt and anger and everything that would do to her? So I was in the wrong, 1,000%. Should I have done it? No. But I was like, dude, this is my first time in a while where I'm having fun. Like, I'm with my boys. I'm back at a place that's familiar, and like, I take full responsibility for it, because again, if I was in her shoes and I saw her out with her girls after our engagement just ended and she's dancing with a guy, like, I'd feel some type of way too. So like, what I did wasn't okay. But telling the whole world that I cheated and having a whole, we'll get into that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's the accountability you're taking. You mentioned that you had a conversation and said maybe this could work.
Yeah.
But in your eyes, when you said that, you all were still broken up.
Yeah, I mean,
you were broken up. But
yeah.
do you think that maybe she took that as like, well, maybe we're still making this work? Maybe we're still kind of together. Do you think that's maybe she might have taken it that way?
I think she was more upset at my actions in Austin. You know what I mean? Rather than focusing more in on that.
Yeah.
Of course, I can't speak for her, but
yeah,
when I got back home, because she saw someone messaged her the video, right? And was like, hey, you know, he's in Austin. And so she's letting me know, like, yo, we haven't even like publicly came out with a statement. When I got back, she was like, we haven't publicly came out with a statement. Like, you know, when you're dancing with a girl in Austin, like, I'll tell her to delete it, but like, you need to come home like now.
Okay.
And so, you know, she's blowing up Will's phone. She's blowing up Daniel's phone. I'm just like, yo, I was just like, damn, like, everything's happening at once. I was like, yo, just let me breathe. Like, I thought I was having a good time, enjoying myself, and like talking to my friends and everything like that. And I was like, yo, like, I just want, just like, I couldn't even get a day of breath. Like, I even left to stay and I couldn't get a day of breath. And I think just in that moment, I was just like, yo, this is just how it's going to be. You know what I mean? It's just like I gotta accept what happened. Like I gotta accept my faults and failures. And so I flew back home to Austin or to San Diego the next day, and then we talked, and then she was just like, "Yeah, I just need to see your phone," and I was like, "Yeah, absolutely, like whatever you need." And then that's why she went through my Instagram, Snapchat, text messages, phones, everything like that. And I didn't know that apps you can I don't know if you knew that you can take Instagram and you could take all the data that you've had in a year, all your deleted messages, like pictures, everything like that, and you could download them all.
Mm-hmm.
And so she did that for like pretty much all my social medias and everything like that. And it took like 5.5 hours and
to see if
6 hours or whatever.
To see if you maybe had,
if I like cheated prior,
okay,
or if like this was a reoccurring thing, or if like what actually happened in Austin and stuff like that. And so yeah, she downloaded everything, and didn't find a single thing.
Didn't find anything.
And then that's where the anger kind of stemmed from later on. And then I mean we'll get into it, but just like I was just like, I'm not a cheater. Like that's just not me. That's not what I do, and that's not who I am. And then 2, I gave you all the proof, and I did that for months and months and months and months and months after. And do you want me to start getting into that, or? So this is where it hurts, man. It's just like, let's start out like, first off, I love this woman. I absolutely love this woman more than anything. You can see it on Paradise. Like, it was just certain things that, like, as a man, I wasn't a good communicator. Like, I don't think I've been a good communicator my entire life. Like, I'm able to communicate, feelings I have, but communicating like the negative ones and the negative emotions I struggle with. And, going on the show off Paradise, just like that ruined me. Like Paradise just kind of like ruined me. Like seeing everybody hurt all the time, and just like there was so much negativity from like some of the cast members that just like, when there's so much negativity around, and you're not able to like separate yourself to go do something like positive or whatever, and you're just kind of stuck in there, it's like it does something to you. And like, so I left Paradise leaving. I got diagnosed with anxiety leaving Paradise, and like I never had anxiety in my life until I left there. And it's not because of Paradise. I'm not blaming the show or anything. It's just like me personally, I wasn't mentally prepared after like getting heartbroken, and then like going from that to like, what was it, like a 6-month turnaround or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then like being right back at it. Like I felt like I thought I was prepared for it all. And like, I think I was just more prepared that like, I was prepared to get heartbroken again. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I prepared myself for. I didn't prepare myself to see other people go through similar experiences that I went through. And like seeing people's hearts get ripped out because they're choosing another man, and they gave this person all their love, and they're like, yo, now I gotta go home. You know what I mean? And just like that, I wasn't prepared. I was prepared to like handle myself. But then like you start to care so much for these people. Because like, again, you're trauma bonding, you're going through it. You're going through all these highs and lows on the show. And I wasn't prepared. Yeah, just like the empathetic part. Like I didn't need to care for everyone, but like just me as a person. Like if I care for you, like I cared for you. Like if you get hurt, then I'm hurt with you. You know what I mean? And so
I find it interesting. So from a viewer perspective, you left the show engaged.
Yeah.
So everyone likely thought that you were extremely happy.
No, I was.
But you were at a major low point.
I was at a low
anxiety
point
for the first time.
Yeah, me and Serene both. We were both seeing therapists on the show. Just like everything that was going on, it was just a lot. Like I wasn't prepared for it. And again, not blaming the show. The show, I signed up for it. The show did what the show does. You know what I mean? Like they made great TV, and like they treated us pretty well and everything like that. But it's just like, certain aspects is like, like this guy likes this girl and you like this girl. You take her on a date and everything. the show's gonna do what it wants to do. It's gonna bring this guy to like interrupt at some point. It's like if one of those dudes is your boy and like you just want to see them find love and everything. I guess, we just take for instance the Rodney and Eliza bit. Just like, I have no hate towards any cast member or anything like that. But just like seeing like how that was set up to like put Justin and Rodney in like a weird predicament and then Liza in a weird predicament. And it's all three people who like I'm getting to know and like care about. It was just hard to see and like understand like, yo, one of them's gonna get hurt. So that's why you see like that episode, everybody's in tears and crying. It's like we just been going through so many lows that we just wanted to see a high. And then it just like never got there. So it just like felt like every day was just like another low and another low and another low. And so it was tough. It was just tough.
I don't know if I'll ask this right. Hopefully you'll understand what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah.
How did the anxiety follow you beyond the show? Because the show is not real life, right? It's a very fabricated environment.
See, that's the thing. To people, no, but to me, bro, that's real life. Like I'm mentally, that's my life right there. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, it's our life. It's not TV. Like it's our life. Like we have to deal with the aftermath. You know what I mean? We have to deal with the accountability of our actions and everything like that. And it's all being filmed 24/7, how many ever days that we're there. So it's at the end of the day, like you saw me, like, yeah, I'm falling in love. Like if I'm in it, like I'm here because I'm giving you my everything. Like I don't go on the show half-assing, as you've seen. Like I'm in it. Like I'm 100%. Yo, let's see where this goes. I'm gonna give my all, and I hop off the show. And it's still my life, like regardless, like everyone else goes home, but at the end of the day, like this gets played and it's still my life. And like people know me as Brandon from The Bachelor, Brandon from Bachelorette, Paradise or whatever. But it followed me off the show just because one day I woke up and I was like, man, I gotta go get mic'd up. Like I'm probably late, like what's gonna happen today? And like if me and Serene are having a good day, in the back of my mind, I'm like, yo, this is too good. Like what's going to happen? Is a producer going to send someone in? Like, is there something that's going to happen? It's like, that's where the anxiety started developing. It's just like, I was always on alert. You know what I mean?
You weren't getting pulled back mentally into Paradise.
It's like I never really left.
You never left it.
Yeah. And then just like, yeah, so like the first part of the relationship, that was just me. And it was like that caused conflict. You know what I mean? Like I wasn't healthy. And then going into a long-term forever relationship, you know what I mean? And not being healthy, like that's kind of scary for that other person. And like seeing how she was coming off the show and like she wasn't like the best either because we went through it. Like, you know what I mean? It's just like, it was just tough. It was just tough.
You feel like you weren't your best version of yourself at that point.
No, and it's just like she wanted to do everything for the show, and we moved into this new apartment in San Diego, and I was like, yo, I have no people here, you have no people here. Like all I wanted to do was like go out. I wanted to go out. I want to go do experiences with her and everything. But she was like, no, like everyone's getting caught out. Like we need to be this or this. Her reasoning, she just wanted like the show to see her in the best light, to like, so that it would present her in the best light. And so I think I started resenting that a little bit early on, and like talking to my therapist is like, she let me know like, yo, I think this is just resentment that you started building early on, because I kind of saw like, hey, I think you're more here to like get that edit, because she always expressed me to like, I just want to be seen. I just want to be seen. I didn't get seen. Susie got seen. Susie was seen. Rachel was seen. Gabby was seen. I wasn't seen with you. You know what I mean? On the Bachelor. So it was like, she was like, that's what started just building resentment, because I was like, let's go out. Like, who cares if we get caught together? Like, let's just go out and like do stuff and be in love and like, and I think that was just tough. And so
in your experience on TV, ever seek external validation? Did you ever hope to be seen a certain way by the audience, or did you never truly care the way you're perceived?
I I didn't like when I hopped off, I didn't care. I think the
Mhm.
only thing I cared about was like I had to tell like my family like, yo, like I didn't like she chose someone else. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
my thought process, like say for instance, Bachelorette, like I didn't care about being seen.
Mhm.
I think it was more just someone understanding what I'm going through.
Mhm.
And unfortunately, there's not too many people who make it to the end and like get their heart broken.
Mhm.
And so, I didn't really want to reach out to like these top dogs who don't know who I am, you know what I mean? And like ask them like, hey, how'd you get through it and everything like that. Because I just figured like, hey, they would never see the message or like, if I reached out to um who was it? Like, I don't know, Tyler Cameron or like, some of those guys who went on the show, got their heart broken, and then
Mhm.
like had to deal with life afterwards. Like, yeah, I just didn't know who to talk to. And so I didn't care about being seen. It was just more like I wanted to be understood.
Yeah.
And like, yeah. So
Yeah, I asked the question because I think I can empathize with her in that regard. I think there's a certain group of people that go on TV seeking external validation. I was one of them, and I think that there's others that had enough internal validation that they never needed the external validation.
yeah.
But I think there can sometimes be a disconnect between those two individuals because
How did you take that into your relationship?
yeah, it's a good question. I did. I takes two to tango.
Yeah.
Ultimately,
Yeah.
Susie and I broke up for things that I wasn't able to provide for her, and vice versa. But one thing that I found was that when I came off The Bachelor, I was so destroyed. I believed everything that was being said about me online that I lost my masculine energy. I lost my ability to be the protector, to provide. I had no stability. I was unstable. I was in therapy. I was needing constant validation from her every single day. So she took on this masculine energy of like, I'm going to help rebuild this person back up. And she did. But what happened was I was taking all of that energy from her.
Yeah.
And then she needed someone to be there for her to help her rebuild. And ultimately, I couldn't get back to that place of masculine energy, of that confidence and stability to say, hey, I can protect you. I can be there for you.
Yeah.
And she had no energy left to give. And she was like, I can't do this anymore. Like, I need to heal myself now from the experience. And so, yeah, I mean, that the show followed me beyond the show. And
Yeah.
ultimately, I knew that I have drained this woman because I can't be in my masculine energy. I've been in this place of emotional, like just a wreck.
So that was me at like the start of the relationship, was just like took it home with me and like, yeah, it's just like I was taking so much energy from her and just like at the end of the day I couldn't communicate those negative emotions because I felt, when I did try to communicate those negative emotions, I felt like they weren't reciprocated. They were just like taken in by her and then flipped into, oh, I felt that once. This is my story. You know what I mean? And so in time, I was just like, I'm not blaming her for it. I was just bad at communicating in general. And like, but in time, it was just like, yo, it's like, even if I try to communicate something like that, I just feel like it's not going to be about me after. And I didn't, maybe I meant that selfishly, but just like, yo, I just want to be heard like once. And I feel like for her, she was just like, I just want to be heard once. And so I think off the show, she was just putting so much energy into me because I was just like, yo, I'm going through it. And just like, I'm just wasn't okay after Paradise. I just wasn't, like, my sleep wasn't okay. Like the anxiety and like thinking something's going to bad happen every single day, any hour of the day, I'm on alert. And then I couldn't sleep after that. And so like, then it just like my drinking started increasing. And then I started like going out and drinking and then like not dealing with my emotions and drinking. Like, obviously, like that's the worst combo you can do as a person who's trying to like heal. And so, yeah, so I think I just kept letting her down over and over and just like, I just wasn't the best in the first part of a relationship. And she's putting energy to me to like bring me back up. And I just couldn't because like, I was like, I mean, we're seeing a therapist, we're seeing a couples therapist too on top of that. So it was like, I was getting the resources, But at the end of the day, it's like I saw stuff in her that I felt like she wasn't like helping with, and she saw stuff in me and she was like, "Oh, I don't think like you're helping with it." And I think, at the end of the day, just like we started just like tearing each other down a little bit and still bringing each other up. And I think she got to a point where she was like, "I can't keep giving you energy. Like, I need energy now. So like now I'm gonna start taking, and like, when I don't have energy and she needs energy, it's like that's kind of, when it starts to like fall, your relationship starts to fall." And
Did,
so,
did you ever have the thought that, it just got to the place where you said, we can't heal together at this point. We're going to have to heal separately.
yeah, so so pretty much, um, so first our relationship, like, we got into therapy and everything like that, and therapy was going all right. We went on a podcast with the Lautners, their new podcast, and then after that, like, just talking about like our past and everything like that, and like what I went through, growing up, what she went through, like it's kind of like realizing that we were focusing so much energy on like the wrong stuff. Like we didn't even open up about that. Like I didn't tell her about the whole story of like my best friend dying and then my grandpa dying and then my cousin dying, and and I just kind of like held that in. And then so that on top of like resentment and everything, and then communicating that in that podcast, I think like that helped us a little bit. But then it's just like it was just got to a point where like therapy wasn't working anymore, and like when we fought, it was like we fought, and like I didn't like her actions that she was doing and some of the things that she was doing during those fights and during those low moments, to the point where I just like I just started resenting her, and then she started resenting me, and we couldn't even like hug on some days, and we couldn't kiss each other on some days. It's just because she was like, "Yo, I just like mentally I can't do that. I can't have any physicality with you right now. Like I just need to like be in my room for a day or two and just like separate myself from you." And you know what I mean? And vice versa. I was like, I just can't. Like I need to go do what I need to do, and like I need to just like separate myself from you for a little bit. And just like doing that for so long, man, it's just like, yo, like what are we doing? Like if we're not trying to work with each other and like trying to like build each other up, then it's just like I think we both just got to a place where it was just like, yeah, it's just not getting better. And like we've done everything. We've exhausted our couples therapy, and we've exhausted our single therapy and everything like that. And it's just like, it would get to the point where like we would have an argument, and I would go and like try to be calm and everything, and then she would resort back to herself. You know what I mean? Instead of using the therapy, and then that would trigger me, and then I would say something that would trigger her, and then it would just go back and forth. And then ultimately it was just like it came down to like one of the days where just like that I'm a clean person, you know what I mean? And like for my mental health to be okay, like I need a clean house. Like I need it to be clean, and like I'll clean if I have to, but I can't keep cleaning up after a person, you know what I'm saying? And so it was just a talk where like, hey, I know this can be a sensitive subject, but like I know your mental health, you're telling me that it's not okay, and I want to respect that, but like this house is a mess. Like, you know what I mean? Like I just need your help in cleaning, whatever I can do to help you do that, to do so. And it went from like that, and then it spiked into a whole nother conflict, and spiked into a whole nother conflict, to the point where like at the end, like I'm sitting on the couch, she's screaming at me, and I'm like yelling at her, and then the relationship's over. And she's throwing the ring at me, and I have that, and it's just like, yo, like that shit's tough, dude. Like that shit's tough. And because you want it to work so bad, but it's just like at the end of the day, it's just like if it's not your person, it's not your person, whether you could try to force it or not. And so that's when denial started. And so I was just sitting there on the couch. I remember I was just like in awe, like I didn't know what to do, what to say. I think I just left and then called you or like right after, but it was just like, yeah, man, she was already moving. And so like that was just such a trigger. And it was like, how could you work on a relationship when you're moving out halfway across? And like me, I don't want to be in Oklahoma. You know what I mean? Like, that's not where my life is going to be. Like, I don't see any positivity in my life being in Oklahoma. I don't see any positivity in life. Like, her idea was to move to California. So I did that full-heartedly. I got blamed for living in downtown. I got blamed for the apartment that was chosen. I got blamed for this. I got blamed for that. It was just like, I was taking so much accountability to the point where like I would just take accountability just to take it. It was like, fine, like if you want to blame, like that song, like Akon, the Sorry Blame It On Me, man, I had that shit on repeat, dog. Like I was like, yo, just blame it on, sorry, just blame it on me. Just blame, like I was taking so much accountability. And that's what I'm saying. So like all my actions, all the wrongdoings, everything, after an engagement ending, going to Austin and dancing with the girl, like that's sickening. Like that's not the person who I am. But me at that time, like I wasn't good. Like I was not good. I just lost my engagement. I couldn't deal with that because as a man, like who am I gonna go tell? Mm-hmm. I told you, and then I was like, hey, you know what? Like I just push it down. You know what I mean? It's like, who do you go tell? And so like, yeah, so I want to go out, have a few drinks, and then cute girl wanted to dance with me. Okay, yeah, so yeah. Was it wrong? Absolutely. Absolutely. Like I should have never done that, but like I did it. But to be labeled as a cheater is crazy. And
I can empathize with you because the whole crazy situation that happened with me with this girl that made this false accusation, I put myself in a bad position to invite her over. I was using weed to cope.
Yeah.
So I was using a drug because I had just seen Susie the week prior and it brought back all the emotions. Like, could we have made this work?
Yeah.
And I was crying in the car driving away after I saw her because I thought I just wanted this to work.
Yeah.
And then the next following weekend, I was just trying to numb the pain by taking a 20 milligram edible. And that's when I was caught in a moment and I invited this woman over. And I think we got to give ourselves grace because, you know, dealing with heartbreak, you don't always make the best decisions, you know, and unfortunately, sometimes especially in the spotlight, everyone's watching.
Everyone's watching. Yeah. I think that, you know, that's the thing is like I accepted, you know, what I did. I took fault and I did that for months and months after, unnecessarily, but I did that for months after with her, privately behind closed doors. The thing that gets me is that, yo, after seeing what you went through, I'm not gonna lie, like that just like, I was living in fear. I'm not gonna lie. I was living in fear of this woman because she could say whatever that she wanted and anyone and everyone would believe her. She would go to everyone in like Bachelor Nation to get her on her side and tell horrible stories about me. Just to like, oh yeah, he did this, he did this, he did this. That's not, yeah, this is just the person he is. This is like someone who I love so much and someone who you love and like someone who you put so much time and effort into and you make so many mistakes. And at the end of the day, man, she just wanted to see me fall. And she just, the worst, can I tell that story?
Share whatever you want, yeah.
Just, bro, my engagement ended, all right? And then I'm going through this. And then I get back home. She goes through everything, right? She doesn't find anything. We're talking and everything. And it's just like everything's fine. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, we're both crying. She needs her time. That's cool. Like, take your time. I understand what you have to process. Like, your ex-fiance just went and danced with a girl a week later. Like, process, do what you need to do. Your dad's coming in a couple days to, like, pick up everything. And then you're leaving back to Oklahoma. Like, process what you need to do. We spent a whole day. She wanted to spend a whole day together. You know what I mean? That's why I came early before she left, right? If I was a cheater, do you think that you would really want to spend a whole day with me cherishing everything before you leave? Do all that. I help her pack, you know, we're laughing, giggling, stuff like that, and just like crying at the same time because like this apartment is getting emptier and emptier and emptier. And it's just like, that was tough, you know what I mean? To like pack up all her stuff and like help her move. And we're in the parking garage just like crying and holding each other. Like, are we making the right decision? Like, what's going on? Everything's ending. And, you know, kind of moving past that denial part, like this is actually happening and like everything is all crashing down all at once, and you're talking to her and you're both crying, kissing, and you're like, what are we doing? Is this gonna be okay? Whatever. And then seeing her go, like I went back up to the apartment, and the apartment was filled with her stuff. You know what I mean? It was pretty much all her stuff. Like I left everything back in Austin, Texas, sold it off, whatever. And I'm going back to an apartment with my bed on the ground. You know what I mean? And it's just like, yo, I just mentally broke down heavy. And I was just like, yo, I'm in the valley. You know what I mean? Like I'm in the trenches. Like I'm just, I can't stay here and look at this empty apartment. And so that's when it got worse. It's just like her healing, her type of healing is she wants to lock herself in her apartment and kind of just like take everything in for several days, a week, whatever. But she just wants to like stay grounded in her apartment. I heal a little different. I'll process it for like couple hours, everything like that, you know, a couple hours during the day, journal, do everything that I need to do. Then I'll go out. Like I'll go to a baseball game, or I'll go to a bar, or I'll go see a friend, or like I can't take everything in all at once. You know what I'm saying? Like I just don't think that's healthy, because you take so much and then you get overwhelmed with how much that you're taking that like you're not processing. And it's like I felt like I just needed glimpses of happiness like throughout to like, hey, okay, you know what? I'm in a better mood. Let's process. And like, you know, I would go down and then I'll get back up, and then I go down and I get back up, instead of just like staying down, keep digging, and then just like leaving my, like, that's what she did. It's like I didn't want to be locked in a house. You know what I mean? And just like, so I healed for a whole month, didn't do anything really, like kind of process, stayed to myself. Like we'll go out to dinner and like we'll go do stuff and stuff like that. But just like for a whole month. And this happened in May, June-ish. And then July happened, and it was all my friends coming to town for 4th of July. And some of her friends were going to be there too. And I think just like that kind of hurt her in a way that like I was able to spend all this time with my friends in San Diego and like be out and like have fun and like post that, and to the point where she was like, that's what I was saying, is like she was just such in a hole dealing with everything. And like it was so dark, and it was just like I believe that it was just so much that like that's why I processed the way I process. Because if I saw her out with her friends drinking, having a good time, you know, I'm already in a spot where like I'm not dealing with everything at once, but like I'm going through highs and lows instead of just like staying there and just like, oh, another thing added. And she hated the way that I was doing it. She just hated that. And 4th of July, you know, she's calling me all through 4th of July, just telling me like how much it hurts and how much like being separated hurts, and like, you know, these are her friends too and stuff like that. And she, you know, it got started off okay, and then it just got worse and worse and worse and worse. And like, you know, I would be on the phone for one time 30 minutes, and I'd be on the phone for 2 hours. I'm trying to get off because I have to go to a dinner for a birthday party for Sam and Landon's wife and stuff like that, and or her fiance. And yeah, it just got worse and worse. And she's like, she just ended up just going to a super dark place. And then, dude, this is when I hit depression. Like, this is when I was at my lowest. And it was because, you know, it started off to where we had an amicable breakup. Like, you know, we had a post together. We did our post together when I got back from Austin, right? And I think what ruined her is like seeing the comments of like girls saying like, oh, you know, like he's available now and like stuff like that. And like, I think that hurt her a lot. And just like all these things, like she had to process, just like, dude, she just took it all out on me. Just like everything. She just like would call me. And then it got to a point where I'd be getting cussed out for like 3-4 hours at a time. You know what I mean? And it just be like, it's like, yo, she's tell me constantly like, oh, I don't see that you're rock bottom, so I'm going to make sure that you're rock bottom. And I'm going to let you know, like, I got a plan to go on Kaylin Bristol's podcast and say that you cheated. And I'm going to tell the world that you cheated so that no girl in Bachelor Nation will want to be with you. And that no girl, any girl who wants to be with you and looks you up, that's the first thing that they see. So every single time I have to talk about that and talk about my relationship with her, with every single girl that I see. And it got to a point where I was just like, yo, do I want to do this anymore, man? Like, do I got to do it? Is this going to be my life from now on? Because I don't want this to be my fucking life from now on. You know what I mean? Like, I'll get 8 calls at 5 in the morning and I got to talk to her till 3. And if I don't talk to her, she's going to release the 80 videos that she has of secretly recorded fights. Or she's going to release whatever. She's going to go on the podcast and ruin my life. And I just heard this over and over and over and over. And then all of a sudden, boom, I'm back on the show. It's just like, yo, what's going to happen today? And then my anxiety started going up and it started leading into depression. And I didn't know who to go to. And I couldn't afford therapy at the time because I'm paying for this highly priced apartment and I'm dealing with her. And then like brand deals are suffering because like I'm going through a breakup and like I'm not posting, I'm not doing any of that. And then now I'm moving at the same time too. And it's just like, and then I'm going through this every single day and I'm crying every single day. And I'm just like fearful of my life every single day because she's like, I'm going to do this. I have a plan. I'm going to do this. I'm going to ruin your life. Don't you fucking talk. Don't you say a fucking word. If you say a fucking word, I'm going to ruin your fucking life. And it's just like, yo, over and over and over. And it's like, you know what I mean? It's like, yo, the whole time I was like, hey, I'm sorry that I hurt you. You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, I wanted to hate her so bad, but just like I couldn't because I loved her so much. So I was like, yo, I'm sorry that hurt. So I just took accountability for it. Like, oh, should I even be feeling this right now? Like maybe I should. Maybe I do deserve this, right? Because that in the beginning of the relationship, my faults and my actions wasn't the character that I was displaying to everyone else. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, man, just like this abuse over and over. And then her showing me these 80 videos of secretly recorded fights. And it went from, oh, I'm just going to show the therapist this so that we could work on these together. And I'm just recording our fights so we could work on these together to, oh, these are just for you. And I'm just going to show you and you alone to, oh, now, like, if you say anything against me, I'm going to release these videos. And so, like, that's why I just lived in fear, dude. And then I fucking, dude, on top of that, I'm dealing, processing. And then January comes and the producer comes out with their podcast. And all I hear is that Serene the whole time has been sending fucking gym photos and bikini photos and telling her boyfriend, this producer on the show who was my best friend, that, oh yeah, the chemistry has been there the whole time. And I'm going out to see him with her and we're on his boat. And me and her in an argument, I'm like, yo, that was a little weird between you and this individual, right? And then to hear that they had the same argument saying like, hey, it's clear that Serene obviously has feelings for you and stuff. And now I have to process this on my own because I don't know who to tell and like what to do. And she's calling me when the podcast comes out saying like, oh, it's none of it's true. It's none of it's true. And then I'm seeing the text messages of like, from what she was saying to the text messages, like, oh yeah, no, it's true. It's like, you know how much anger I had, I went and did a podcast that next month and I was just angry, man. I was angry. I acted out of emotion. The podcast never released because I couldn't allow that, but just like I was upset. I took this fucking gut punch for her. I took all this abuse from her. And I took day in and day out everyone just like hating on me in my DMs, and anything that I posted, it would be a comment of, you piece of shit, you cheated, this, that. And my family's taking this too. Any picture, any post, any comment, my family would get comments of that. My friends would get comments of that. To the point where like I just feel like people in Bachelor Nation just didn't even want to fuck with me anymore. You know what I mean? That's like tough because like I understand like why would you want to hang around someone who you're seeing is portrayed as this way? You know what I mean? And all that shit hurt, and I just took it to the fucking chin. I was like, you know what? I'm going to be silent. I'm going to trust in God and just like understand like everything happens for a reason. And I felt like just taking it to the chin was just like the best idea, you know what I mean? But at the end, it's just like I took more than that. It's like I didn't prepare myself. I didn't prepare myself for the comments. I just assumed that I just gave so many of these people my life and like who I am as a person multiple times to the point they would see through that and they would be like, oh yeah, nah. But
Do you want to reconcile with her?
I don't even know what reconcile is.
Do you want to,
like at this point, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Are you just,
I don't want a war, dude. And I know like that's why like I know after this, man, she's gonna do something. And it's like I just accepted it. Like I just accepted it. It's just, whatever it is, it's gonna be bad. It's gonna be part of her plan that she's had this whole time. It's just like I just been so manipulated and so like hurt by all this, dude. To the point where it's just like just do it. You know what I mean? At this point, like you already told me your entire plan. Like I already see your plan. I already know what your plan is. It's like if you're gonna go release those videos. Okay, go release the videos. Like that's what you're gonna do. And you're gonna go to reality Steve and tell them whatever, or you're gonna go do this, or you're gonna go do that. It's just like it's okay. You know, at the end of the day, it's just like I've already taken so much to the fucking chin over and over. And like from the start of this fucking show, bro, I've taken it to the chin. And I get back up, take it to the chin again, get back up, take it to the chin. It's just like, yo, being this fucking nice guy sucks. Just being the nice guy sucks. It's like one time I want to be a fucking savage. You know what I mean? And like one time I just want to like go out and just be the bad guy. You know what I mean? Just like not give a fuck about what anyone says or what anyone's actions are. Like, yeah, you want to start it? Let's start it. Like, let's just like go toe to toe and do it. You know what I mean? But it's just like, I'm just not that fucking person. It just sucks, you know? Because sometimes I wish I was that person. You know what I mean? Like, I just want to like say fuck you to everyone. Like, I want that Slim Shady. You know what I mean? Just like cancel me, do whatever. Bro.
Yeah, sometimes being the bigger person
you just get shit
isn't
on.
satisfying.
It's not. I don't think I've had. Yeah, it's just not.
Yeah.
I mean, take the high road. But at the end of the day, just.
But
so,
at what cost? Yeah, I mean, especially
but that's the thing is like I'm speaking out now. This is the one thing she didn't want me to do, and Alana spoke out, or sorry, the producer spoke out, and that was the one thing she probably didn't want her to do. It's just like, I feel like she got a plan for this. And after hearing it for 6 months, hours on end, hearing the plan over and over, how my life's going to get ruined. I'm telling her I'm in such a depression, such a low. And her like, nah, I don't see it. But no, you're going to feel it. And hearing that over and over, it's just like, yo, dating after has been tragic for me. Just tragic. It's just like, fully trusting someone, like to the point where I'll just be like, yeah, I trust you, but it's like to the point I just don't trust anyone in that sense. And it's like that's tough. And like that's something I gotta work on. Like I think that's so when you're saying like, yo, are you at your peak? It's like no, it's because like I just don't have the trust in someone.
Do you think there's a possibility for, or rather, do you have hope that there's a way that you and Serene can both make amends and there can be a best case scenario? Do you think it's possible? And if so, how do you get there? Instead of this becoming her next step, do you think there's a way to reverse this between you two and be able to
I don't know.
Go back to building each other up and finding a positive way forward?
I don't know. It's just, I mean, you know her too. After everything I told you, like, do you think that? It's like that's why I wish, you know, because I don't hate her. I don't hate her. After everything that she's put me through, at the end of the day, I still don't hate her. But I've held oh my gosh, it's just like I'm angry. you know what I mean? I'm frustrated. Like my character was like thrown under the bus. And the person who I am was thrown under the bus. And like the person who my parents raised was thrown under the bus all in one fell swoop. What, just to make me feel pain, even more pain than what I was already feeling? You know what I mean? It's like, what does amends kind of look like at that point? Is like, at this point, it's like, amends to me is, I hope you find your person. I hope you're with them. I hope that you do you. And like, I hope just like I get left alone at the end of the day. You know what I mean? Like, I just want to be left alone from her. Like, I just want this to be like, yo, I'm good. I'm done. I have no more fight. I don't want to hurt you. I don't want to be hurt by you anymore. Like, please just do you. Please, like, that's kind of what it's been now. So I'm okay with it. But at the same time, just like, what's been killing me is, man, just holding this shit in. Just like day in and day out, I've been holding this in for months now. For months. And people may be like, oh, it's a little bit late for that and shit. Like, that's fine. That's cool. But like, I did this so many months ago to the point where I was just like, it just ate at me that I was like, no, you know what? Like, I need to do this. I need to do this. Like, if I'm going to move on for myself personally, like, I need to do this. Like, I was in a public relationship. They deserve to hear, my faults and my actions and the terrible person that I was, as well, what I went through. And so I don't know what amends looks like. All I wish for her is just like, hey, just please do you.
You want her to let you go.
Just let me go. Yeah, just be happy. I hope she's happy right now. I hope she's doing her thing. I hope she's dating. I hope she's out there. I hope she's, entrusting in other people. But I think making amends right now is just like, hey, we once had love for each other, but now I think it's just like time to go. And I think that's kind of what it's been at right now. So I think that's been good. But just like, that's what I'm saying is like, I'm not here to start a war, but I can't go another night just like, dude, this happened recent too. I was just out and just like someone came up to me. She was like, hey, like, you're Brandon and everything like that. I was like, yeah. And she was like, so how has it been, after cheating on Serena and everything like that? And then just hearing that, even to this day, I was just like, okay, you know what? Like, one, I just need to say something. I just need to say something, or this is going to be the rest of my life. And then my kids are going to look back and they're going to look me up and they'll be like, oh, hey, Dad, you cheated. Like, how come you didn't say something? Like, how come you didn't have the strength and courage to, like, stand up for yourself?
Yeah.
Like, how can they stand up for themselves if they see that their own father didn't want to stand up for himself? You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, I don't think people realize how hard it is to navigate in the spotlight. When you Google your name, Brandon Jones Bachelorette, it's the third source is about the cheating accusation.
Yeah.
I can relate to that, and it's hard because our public perception, I mean, it follows us, and it follows us for years after the show. I still get DMs from people. You're a fucking piece of shit for what you did to Susie. I just watched the episode. I'm like, that was 3 years ago.
Yeah. It doesn't stop.
I'm not even the same person.
It doesn't stop. Yeah.
But you lashed out at me like that anger and aggression, just, it never ends. And it does hurt because it's like when you're trying to heal, it's like people keep stabbing at the wound.
Yeah, and that's the point, is like, man, we were both there trying to heal, and it's the one person who I love the most is the one who's like stabbing and stabbing and telling me, hey, I want to keep you in rock bottom. I want to show you what rock bottom is. And like, just hearing those words and like, I think that's just crazy. That's just the most wild thing. And it's like, you know what? If this is what you have to do, is this makes you feel better, like, I'll do that for you because I love you. And I'll stay on this phone with you because I love you. And I did that for 4 or 5 months. Hours. I want you to know it wasn't like a 20-minute phone call. These are like 6-hour phone calls to where I'm getting maybe 3-4 words in and I'm just listening. And I'm hearing her, she said, hey, I need closure. Let's get closure. 4-hour phone call. We're fine. Hey, I hope you have a great time in Oklahoma. Say hello to the family. Enjoy yourself. Next week, 8 phone calls. I need your phone records. I need this. I need that. I need this. I need that. And just like, dude, just never stopped. And then being in the spotlight is like, people are going out, hey, Brandon, like, can I get a picture? And I'm in depression. I'm like, no, like, I've never said no to a picture though, but just like trying to fake it. You know what I mean? Like, how you doing? Oh, yeah, I'm good. I'm great. I can't look at you and be like, oh, I'm in such a fucking depression right now. Like, yeah, how are you doing? You know what I mean? And so, dude, this has just been, I went from a kid who like no one knew, you know what I mean? Post on social media once a year. Didn't care about social media, you know, live my life. And like, now everybody knows, you know, who my parents are and where I go to eat and where I live and all this. Yeah, it's just wild.
You just want people to see you for the real you.
I don't even care if they see me for the real me. I just want them to understand that the person that they saw on TV is the person off screen too. Like, I've never changed. So the fact that, like, one, I'm sorry that y'all been hurt by so many people who have changed off screen, but like, that's what I'm going back to. Like, I gave my all. Like, I didn't go on this show and be like, okay, yeah, let's promote my pizza business, or like, let's do this.
That's a throwback.
That's a throwback. But just like, I was like, yo, if I'm ending up with this girl, I'm ending up with this girl. If I'm not, then I'm not. But I'm gonna give my all. You know what I mean? And like, I'm not gonna hop off the show and be a whole different person. She's like, who the fuck are you? You know what I mean? Like, it's just a waste of your time and her time. And so,
how do you feel having kind of let this out?
Dude, I feel so fucking good. Okay. You know how long this has been, like,
good.
Dude, and just all the anger and the phone calls with you, and just like, you've been a blessing in my life too. And I hope you know that. And just like, dude, it's just, man, and nobody knows. And like, I just went through all this pain and nobody knows. And like, I think that's what I struggle with. It's just like, nobody knows. And like, that's what's crazy. And I'm taking this abuse still to this day and nobody knows. Yeah. And so,
yeah, I think this is today's discussion. Our conversation is a powerful example of the power of addressing something, not suppressing it. Because when you suppress something, it just builds and builds and builds until it creates an emotional outburst or it destroys the individual. Yeah. So I think through addressing it, it's like you can let that out and stop holding on to it within. And that's what I was hoping that we could accomplish today.
I think I was just losing myself holding on to it for so long and just living in fear to the point where I was just like, why am I doing this? You know what I mean? Like, why am I losing my own self and succumbing to my own fear? You know what I mean? Why I should just accept it and understand, like, this is the reality. These are the repercussions that may follow, but like, I'm not about to lose myself again to this. You know what I mean?
And this is what you feel is best for you in your heart.
Yeah.
And so you're going to live your truth and whatever repercussions.
Without trying to hurt her in any way possible, but just like understanding, just like, hey, you know, what you did was fucked up. Yeah. It was fucked up. And like, I've been taking accountability this entire time. Like, again, takes two to tango. And I just, man.
Yeah, man,
sorry, dude. It just feels good. No, bro. I mean, it just feels good.
Right. And
it's like, as men, we don't get to fucking do this. You know what I mean? It's just like,
yeah, a lot of men don't know how to have these conversations, or, you know, vulnerability. They see it as a weakness, but I think it takes true strength to be able to let all this out. Yeah. Because it does open you up to criticism. It does open you up to opinions, but ultimately, you know, if you need to let it go, if you need to get it out there for your own well-being, then I think sometimes it's okay for us to be selfish and say, I have to let this out just because in my heart, this is what I need. Yeah. And I'm grateful, man, that we could have this conversation today. I was hoping that ultimately you could just feel that you were in a better place, because I knew that this was, you know, bubbling up.
Whoa. Yeah. But I've been doing a lot of emotions. Like, I've been doing good. I've been sober. I haven't been drinking anything like that. Yeah. So that was something I was like, yo, can I do this? You know what I mean? And yeah, so I haven't been drinking. It's been good. Going out to the club with water has been crazy.
But you
But,
just
like,
you know yourself and what you
I know
need.
myself, yeah, and just understanding, like, see, there's a lot of beauty that came from it. I think that's why, like, I was just personally in taking the beauty from it and then dealing with the negative later and, like, kind of suppressing it just to be like, all right, there is some good that, like, came from it. And, like, yeah. So that's what.
You're finding the silver lining.
Found the silver lining. Yeah. Journaling too. Journaling's been crazy. You read my journal book, bro. It's crazy.
No, mine's nuts too. But I think you a really powerful thing to end on is I've found, and it sounds like you feel the same way, you're able to let go of past trauma once you can find the positive or the silver lining amongst it.
Yeah.
So that's, I think, also another really powerful lesson from this discussion today is that if you're looking to let go of trauma, you have to be able to find that positive amongst the negative to be able to say, okay, I went through this for a reason and now I'm okay with, I've been able to make amends and I've been able to accept the fifth stage of grief. I'm able to accept that I went through this for a purpose. Therefore, I'm okay with the fact that I had to go through with it in the first place.
Yeah.
And that's how you truly let something go. So
yeah,
I'm glad that you feel that you're at that place. And Brandon, I love you to death, man. You're such a good friend, and you are one of the few people that I can talk to about this because we went through something so unique.
Yeah.
So thank you so much. I think your story is powerful. I think it'll help a lot of people, and I just really appreciate your vulnerability today.
I appreciate you, my guy.
Absolutely, dude.
Appreciate you.